Who's the best movie reviewer through and through? That's Movie Mania on YouTube. That's who. Why don't you stay a while and have your life reviewed?
Hello, everybody. It is Matt, and it is, Wild Wednesday already? Holy smokes, this week is flying by. Before I roll on to any of that, I want to wish each and every one of you a great morning, evening, dawn, day, or dusk. All that lovely stuff, because life really is too short as is. Do me a really huge favor and like, share, and subscribe. I love seeing your beautiful faces when you are here. I know I'm here an awful lot, but I have an awful lot on my plate to review. And one last little tidbit of information. Check out the description box. I give you a bigger bite of every single movie of every single day, such as a brief synopsis, starring cast, director, runtime of the cut I am watching, and along with a link for a trailer on this one because it has not been finished and released. It's a part of an anthology series. It's going to be 3 stories. Right now, it's just the one that's been finished. It's called Faces of the Undead. Yes, its name really it fits up to its name in my opinion. This one's got a 2025 mark on it. 33 minutes, starring Chloe Stewart, Rivkah, Bryk, Robert Dean, and Jasmine Elkhoga, and Ferenc Gregor. And Ferenc pulls double duty, triple duty, quadruple duty. He's doing not only acting in it, playing the Necromancer, he is also the director, I believe one of the writers. I don't know if he did anything on the editing side, but he did do special effects. Special effects, I saw that he did some stuff for that as well. Which is special effects, I'm not gonna lie, when they do show up, it's actually kind of cool because there's some interesting things that they decided to do effects wise. But before I get to that, I got a whole lot of other stuff to say. Now, what exactly is this movie about? Well, it's basically what I'm going to do because it's a little hard to describe because it's so short. But it's an anthology style horror with the disturbing conclusion that death is not at the end. Which there is a whole thing with a Voodoo Priestess and a Necromancer, which they're both really cool. I really dig that stuff, and it just kind of like goes on from there. It just really has a great vibe going. You know me, guys. I don't like to give away spoilers because that just ruins the experience. But I will say that there's this is it starts out with this bartender and this dude chilling at the bar. He's kind of got his head low, basically keep it to himself. And then in walks a gentleman who is very, very eloquent with his English and the way he talks with his grammar. He's just very on cue on what to say. One of my favorite characters in the whole movie. I'm not gonna lie, but it's basically. Like at one point, they show the Voodoo Priestess doing the voodoo doll thing, and she's tugging 2 hooks through the guy's chest or the doll's chest, and when it showed it in reality, it was being done to a person. I'm not going to say who. because that's later to find out for you guys. Now I've given away enough I want to give away. I just it's a 33-minute film is a perfect time for just a fun watch. Um, this one has such a great idea and great momentum and pacing that it works out really well. I'm going to talk about my three favorite things of the whole or my three things in movies that I like to have a certain criteria. The first is audio. The audio was a little rough with this one. It might just have been the digital copy I was watching, because when I watched the trailer was perfectly fine sound. So it might have just been technical error there, because it was really quiet. I had to turn on a Bluetooth speaker, turn it all the way up, and hold it right here just to get the dialogue in. So I'm not going to really gripe on that too much, because I'm sure, more than positive, that was just a technical error there, and it's not on the original or the hard copy of the film. So I'm gonna give it a let's say a B plus. Let's go with that. I think that's fair enough. Now on to the dialogue. The dialogue is interesting because it bounces back and forth between different kind of languages, because there's French in here. There's or at least I think it's French, because at one point somebody says "merde," and I know that one. I know that French word. So that's besides the point. But it's really interesting how they've interwoven all these different languages, different styles of talking, and then characters that aren't talking really at all. So it's got some really interesting dialogue. I liked that end of it a lot. So I'm going to give it an A on that end. I feel like it works, and it really earned a good score for that. And now on to the third and final thing, which is the hardest thing about making films, in my opinion, which is editing. Because you don't want to see too much of your film, too much of your baby on the floor, on the cutting room floor. But unfortunately, stuff happens with that. It makes it a lot harder to give what you actually want to give the audience. So, and it also it works with your pacing of the film. It also can like affect it if you're doing like a bunch of silly jump cuts. I think that's just been played out at this point. Much like lens flares, those things are just, they've been played to death, and I just wish filmmakers would steer a little further from them. This one thankfully does not have any of that nonsense going on. It really keeps a good steady momentum. So I'm giving it an A plus on editing, because whoever did the editing, I forget who did it. They did a fantastic job. It feels very smooth and clean, and it just gels and meshes together very, very well. All right, guys, that's my thing, and then on to a final score of 1 through 5. This is going to get a 4 out of 5. This is above average. I really hope that this gets a good stateside release, because this one is really fun. So I'm curious to see what part 2 and part 3 will be to make it the feature length film. So look out for that in the future if Ferenc decides to let me review those, which would be awesome. But anyways, love your faces, and as always, peace.